What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones prediction video. Today I want to talk about some of the biggest reunions that may take place next season. The Game of Thrones television show is almost over, so characters' locations and alliances are starting to change as all the chess pieces on the board are being shifted to prepare for the endgame. The plot lines are getting very close to being put in their final position, which means the characters that are left will either die or they will have to unite in order to defeat the Night King. Some of these characters haven't seen each other in over years, but now that there are only 13 episodes left, most of the characters in the show that have been away from each other for years will start to cross paths once again. Some of these reunions will be very emotional, but some of these reunions could also end up being deadly. So let's go over some of the biggest ones that are being put in position to take place. The character that I want to discuss is Jon Snow, and as we can see in all the official promos, Jon Snow is going to be on the move next season, and he will end up traveling to multiple locations, which puts him in line with having several possible reunions this season. Within the first few episodes of Season 7, we're going to get a pretty important reunion that has some significance for the endgame. Jon Snow will hold a meeting telling all the other lords of the north that he needs to go south, down to Dragonstone so that he can acquire some dragon glass in order to fight the White Walkers. But he will also go down there to meet Daenerys Targaryen, who currently has one of the largest armies in the Seven Kingdoms, which is exactly what Jon Snow will need on his side when it comes time to fight the Night King. When Jon arrives on Dragonstone, he will be greeted by our old friend Tyrion Lannister. And I don't know about everyone else, but I am really looking forward to this reunion. I am a big fan of Jon Snow and Tyrion, and I love their scenes together in Season 1. So when they meet again, it should be very interesting to see the interaction between these two characters. So much has changed since the last time that they saw each other. When they first met, Jon Snow was just another bastard, on his way to spend the rest of his life at the Wall, and Tyrion was the despicable imp. But now they are both in a very powerful position. Now that Jon Snow is king in the north, and Tyrion is Hand of the Queen, the dialogue between these two old friends should be pretty interesting. As we all know, Jon and Tyrion didn't get along with each other when they first met, but after spending some time together at the Wall, they did begin to respect one another. And I think Tyrion will be the glue that gets Jon and Daenerys to stick together eventually. And these three characters being together is crucial when it comes time to fight the Night King. Tyrion has the brains, Jon Snow has the experience, and Daenerys has the firepower. This will be one of the most important meetings of Jon Snow's life, and I'm really excited for this one. Another very important reunion for Jon Snow next season will be with Samwell Tarly. These two friends parted ways at a critical moment in the story. At the end of Season 5, Sam left the Wall in order to go to the Citadel to train to become the next Maester for the Night's Watch, and most importantly, to figure out a way to help Jon Snow when the time comes to fight the Night King. After Sam left the Wall, Jon Snow ended up being killed by other men of the Night's Watch. Obviously, Jon was then resurrected by Melisandre, and he ended up leaving the Night's Watch, and he fought Ramsay during the Battle of the Bastards, and he now has Winterfell back under the Stark banners. So I think it's safe to say that a lot has happened since these two characters were last together. We are now getting closer to the point to where these characters will need to meet again and devise their plan to overcome this winter. Sam will definitely learn all that he can during his time at the Citadel so that he can help Jon. My guess is Sam will discover some pretty important information that will help Jon defeat the Night King, and he could also learn about Jon's true parentage. But whatever the case may be, once Sam feels he has found the information he has been looking for, he will leave the Citadel and head back up north to meet with Jon. Even though these characters haven't been away from each other that long, this still has the potential to be a very emotional reunion, considering all that has happened since then. I'm wondering what Sam's reaction will be when he learns that Jon Snow was killed by other men of the Night's Watch. That should be interesting to see. But Jon and Sam reuniting will also be important to the endgame. Sam will also be another character that makes it until the very end of this story. The information that Sam discovers at the Citadel will be one of the keys to survival, and without Sam and Jon reuniting, the people of Westeros probably wouldn't stand a chance. Just like Jon reuniting with Tyrion, this will also be one of the most important reunions of Jon's life. But these aren't the only reunions that'll be important, or the key to survival. As we have seen in the trailer, Bran Stark will make it back to Winterfell. Not only is this going to be significant, but it's also going to be very emotional. The last time Jon Snow saw Bran, He wasn't even sure if he was ever going to wake up again, but now, Bran has learned how to fly, and his role for the endgame has become one of the most crucial roles now that he is the Three-Eyed Raven. Jon and Bran were always very close, so I know they're really looking forward to seeing each other once again, and giving each other a big hug. Bran has actually seen Jon a few times since then, but every time he saw Jon, they could never reunite because Jon was always in the middle of a damn fight. When Bran was traveling to the wall, and he hid up in that tower, he saw Jon fighting the wildlings. That was when Bran walked into his direwolf to take down some of those wildlings, which ultimately helped Jon escape. Then Bran saw Jon again when they were north of the wall at Craster's Keep. Bran saw Jon fighting other brothers of the Night's Watch, but he decided not to stay, and instead he headed to the Three-Eyed Raven's cave. So when Jon and Bran finally get to hug it out, it's going to be very satisfying to see. Bran and Jon will also play a huge role together when they have to face off against the Night King. Bran will also play a huge role in telling Jon about who his true parents are. Obviously, Bran was the one that had the Tower of Joy visions, and he saw that Jon's mother is actually Lyanna Stark. Now, Bran may or may not know who Jon's father is yet, but that will eventually be revealed in the show also. We all know who Jon's father is, but Bran did not see Rhaegar there, nor did he hear Lyanna say it was Rhaegar's son to confirm it. But when Bran reveals this information to Jon, it will end up being one of the biggest moments in the show, which I know most of us have been waiting for and can't wait to see. You have to wonder though, will this information affect Jon and Bran's relationship? Does anyone think this will change the way Bran and Jon look at each other, now that they will know they aren't actually brothers? Let me know what you think about that down below. Since we're talking about a Stark reunion, let's just move right on to the next one, which may be the most emotional one for some people, which is Jon Snow and Arya Stark reuniting. These two characters also had a very loving relationship as kids, and they haven't seen each other in years. Since then, they both more or less have become two completely different people. In fact, when Arya Stark was training with the Faceless Men, it was the sword needle that Jon gave to Arya that she just wasn't able to get rid of, to completely become no one. She was not able to let go of that part of her life. The thought alone brought her to tears. Arya Stark has already made it back to Westeros, and she is crossing names off her list as she makes her way up north to Winterfell. So it's just a matter of time before she makes it back home. But when she does, Jon might not even be there. I have a feeling Jon's going to be gone when Arya arrives. He's either going to be down in Dragonstone, or he's going to be up north of the Wall. But I'm holding out hope that we will see this happen before the end of the season. I'm really curious to see how Jon reacts to what Arya has become. I would love to get a scene of all the Stark children sitting down together, telling each other everything that they have been through. Another big reunion that we can see next season may be between Jon Snow and Melisandre. In the first Season 7 trailer, we could see Melisandre standing on the hill at Dragonstone, and she was overlooking a group of people walking up to the castle. This may be Melisandre watching as Jon Snow and Davos arrive. The last time we saw Melisandre was in the Season 6 finale, after Jon Snow exiled her from the north after he learned that she sacrificed Princess Shireen. When Jon Snow told Melisandre to leave the north, or else she would be executed, she gave Jon Snow one last piece of advice that could end up playing a role still.
Do you have anything to say for yourself?
I've been ready to die for many years. If the Lord was done with me, so be it, but he's not. You've seen the Night King, Jon Snow. You know the Great War is still to come. You know the army of the dead will be upon us soon. And you know I can help you win that war.
You have to wonder what exactly Melisandre meant by this. We know she can resurrect Jon and make shadow babies, but did she mean something else? Did she have some other magical powers up her sleeve that we have yet to see? I wonder what other kind of crazy shit she can do to help against the Night King. I am very curious to see how things go down when Jon Snow and Davos get to Dragonstone and they see that Melisandre is there. There is one more reunion I want to discuss, but this will be a 2-for-1. Jon and his group of companions will go far north beyond the Wall, and at some point during this mission, they will become under attack. We have seen plenty of evidence of this in the trailer. Jon Snow and his team are going to be surrounded by what looks like thousands of whites, and there will also be White Walkers there. But most important of all, the Night King will be here too. The last time Jon Snow was this far north of the Wall, he was introduced to the Night King, and I must say, it was one hell of an introduction. This scene shocked fans across the globe, book readers and show watchers. Jon Snow and the Night King had one of the most epic stare-downs of all time. We all knew that this scene would have a payoff at some point. Well, this season we can get our first taste of that payoff when Jon Snow and the Night King meet again. We saw how much interest the Night King took in Jon when he witnessed Jon defeat one of the White Walkers. So it's going to be very exciting and interesting when the Night King sees Jon again. This is another reaction I am very curious about. From what we've seen in the trailer, it appears like Jon Snow's going to end up all alone as whites are all around him. And I know some people think this is Benjen standing here, but that is Jon Snow. You can see that he has his hair up in a bun, and you can see that he has Longclaw in his hand. Plus he has the dagger tucked down the back of his belt. But at the end of the trailer, we can also see Jon Snow riding off on a black horse. And you can see that Jon has that dagger tucked down the back of his belt here too. But somehow Jon is going to be able to escape the Night King's grasp once again. And there is probably only one way Jon is going to be able to escape, which most of you already know. When Bran and Mira was in trouble, who showed up just in time to save them? The same person that's going to show up just in time to save Jon, which is Uncle Benjen, aka Uncle Cold Hands. Benjen went ranging beyond the wall, and he disappeared for years. And ever since then, Jon has been wondering where the hell he has been, and if he would ever see him again. Although they didn't spend a lot of time together, they did have a strong bond. And it may be that bond that ultimately saves Jon's life when he gets attacked by the Night King and his army. I know some people commented on my trailer breakdown video and said that this black horse could be anybody's black horse. Which is true, but come on. That is definitely Benjen's horse that Jon is riding on at the end. What's interesting is, when Jon Snow was killed, it was that little shit Ollie that tricked him into coming outside because he told Jon that someone knew where his Uncle Benjen was. But now it will be his Uncle Benjen who saves his life. That's going to be pretty damn poetic in a sense, if you ask me. But as you can see, Jon Snow is going to be very busy next season, traveling all across Westeros and coming into contact with some old friends, some old enemies, and family members that he truly loves. All of these reunions are very important to Jon's story moving forward, and ultimately the endgame of Game of Thrones. Which one are you most excited for? Or is there another reunion you really want to see that involves two completely different characters? Comment down below and let me know what you think. As always, thank you all so much for stopping by and supporting the channel and this video. Also, a special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. The love you all show means a lot to me, and for that, I love you all. I'll see you down below. Bye.